I rather like this headline, though. I've been showing it all morning. This is the sun, with one word, Scorchio, and a picture. I don't know why this dog's got a rubber ring on, but anyway, hot, 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 and in the southeast, really hot. Now, there's a problem with that, of course, because it's going to be a very mild and muggy night, I think. It's going to be a very tropical night. And the question is, how do you sleep in those kind of temperatures? Well, joining me now is Dave Gibson, who's a sleep coach from thesleepsite.co.uk. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's tricky, isn't it, to try and sleep? I mean, sleep's so important, and I think what people don't really understand is such an active process. It's not actually your body switching off in the slightest, is it?
It's a neural reboot, but also we're designed to cool down before we sleep, and that's the problem with the hotter nights.
So that's a very good point, actually, because your body temperature does drop, and it needs to be dropping before you get a good night's sleep. Now, if you've got weather like this, what on earth do you do? For those people lucky enough to have air conditioning, that's one thing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But if you don't have air conditioning, what can you do?
You can split it into sort of different segments. You can look at the bedroom, you can look at the bedding, and then you can look at yourself in terms of keeping yourself cool and keeping yourself hydrated. Gosh,
that reminds me actually of a holiday in Thailand. It's just flashed back about being so hot that we used to have to go and shower like every hour and keep your body temperature down. So practically, let's look at that. So before you go to bed, what could you do?
I'd be right now looking at my bedroom, closing the curtains, closing the blinds.
Closing them now?
Now, taking all of the plugs out so that you keep the room cool by turning off the electrics. I'd be looking at how I'm hydrating myself in the day. As much as in the night, you know, you get to my age, you don't want to be hydrating yourself too close to bedtime.
You're a young man. You're a young man.
Absolutely.
I mean, but all of those are really good pieces of advice. So essentially, shut the curtains now. Make sure that actually you try and keep that. I assume you want to try and have some sort of draft as well, if you can, through the property or the house or the flat or whatever it is.
And at night, try and get a fan. Put it through a damp sheet. That will always cool it down. Or put it over iced water.
Yeah, that's good.
Even have a tepid bath yourself. When you're out, you can cool down and stand in front of the fan yourself, so you cool yourself.
So I like that, and actually I think this idea, what about showering in a cold shower before you get into bed? Would that help?
I'd keep it tepid. I wouldn't put it cold. You're trying to heat yourself slightly up to then cool down.
Right.
And I think also with your bed sheets, Egyptians used to soak the bed sheets. That's always a nice trick. I love putting them in the fridge.
You put your bed sheets in the fridge?
These types of days, yeah.
That's brilliant. Right, OK, and then you just take them out and what, put them on the bed and then away you go?
Put them in a plastic bag, stick them in the fridge or the freezer.
How amazing. What about for those people? I mean, people have got jobs to do, and of course there is real sleep anxiety about, I must get a good night's sleep, and of course if it's really hot, then it goes round, and I know that from my own job, you know, if I've got a very busy show the next morning and I'm worried about sleeping, then of course it's kind of self-perpetuating and self-fulfilling because you don't sleep because you're worried about not sleeping.
I would always get out of bed. I wouldn't bother staying in bed. If you're not going to get to sleep, get out, do something calming, do something relaxing. You don't want your brain to associate the bed being a place that you're going to stay awake.
Right. And also, sleep hygiene, really important, isn't it? So that you actually turn off electronic devices and stuff well before you actually try and go to bed.
And the dark is the key part. We need to be in as dark an atmosphere as we can. The brain needs to see it getting darker, and it produces a hormone called melatonin.
Now, I actually take melatonin every night, and I know that you can't get it in this country, actually. You can bring it in from other countries. But also, I mean, I look very glamorous at night because I wear a eye protector to make it very dark, and earplugs as well. Would you recommend stuff like that, or am I just mad?
No, you're spot on.
Right.
Absolutely spot on. Also, it means that when you've got that sort of sleep hygiene, you can take it on holiday. And you're taking your bed with you, you're taking your own environment, and the brain likes that. The brain, when you go on holiday, has something called first night effect, because it recognises it's in a strange room and half your brain stays awake. So spraying lavender on your bed sheets and on your pillow, taking the lavender with you, putting it on the beds in your hotel room, will get you accustomed to the environment quickly.
So that's really interesting. Since I've worn earplugs, I don't have first night effect.
Absolutely.
Isn't that interesting?
It's phenomenal.
What other tips can you give very quickly, because time is pressing? Anything else that you can tell people to try and help them have a good night's sleep? I know, actually, very quickly, people are going to say, right, I'll have a drink, I'll have some booze to try and make myself go to sleep. That might be a fool's errand.
Alcohol's a sedator, but it will wake you up later when it detoxes. Also, it affects your ability to control the temperature. Biggest single tip is don't take your phone to bed. Anybody that gets a bad night's sleep, in my mind, is taking their phone to bed. You can't afford to.
Do you know, the one thing I love doing is I actually I turn my phone off at night. You know, it's my one luxury, because I know no one can actually get hold of me, and maybe that is also part of your neural pathway, because what I'm saying to myself is I'm now sleeping.
And get yourself one of those dawn simulators. They're far better than using your phone as an alarm.
Quickly, what's that?
A dawn simulator, it mimics the sun waking, so it wakes you up in a very gradual way. Times yourself perfectly.
Love that. Thanks ever so much for coming in, Dave. That's Dave Gibson, their sleep coach at the sleepsite.co.uk.